in terms of the Real game, there was a couple of things I wanted to pick out of that. To go back to Wirtz and his inclusion, he was named nominally on the left side of the attack, and Cody Gakpo stepped out. And with Mo and Ekitike across that forward line, it did look good, Jan. It really did look good. In fact, actually, I was looking at one of those heat maps of Florian Wirtz's game involvement. He ran considerably more, almost up to a kilometre more than nearly anyone. And he also had huge amounts of involvement in that position where we all thought we'd see him play. But there was a notable little patch over on the right as well, where he had that brilliant involvement early in the match, just on the byline to set up an opportunity as well. And he was everywhere, wasn't he? Like, I mean, we know he has an engine, but he was everywhere in terms of, there seems to be a little bit of, if it's not bodily strength, it's bodily awareness of how to use your body in a game, and to ride tackles a little bit better, because the Premier League, let's be honest, even though he's done very well on paper, it has kicked his arse physically in terms of the challenges and the difficulties and the physicality. This seems to be a real way for him to operate for us going forward. Do you think the manager will have, I'm phrasing this, I could be wrong, do you think he'll have the humility to go with this now and say, look, I need this lad in my team. The way I had set it up initially, it's just not working. I clearly need these 3 boys, or 3 from 4 of these boys behind the front line. Let's go with this. Because I think that's what all of us are hoping for as fans.
What an unfair question that is, Trevor.
Hey, I don't make it easy for you, buddy.
So obviously, Florian Wirtz playing off the left is not something totally new. You know, he's done that before in his career at Leverkusen and also with the German national team. And on the face of it, and as structured as football is today, you can kind of say that's a difficult role. You know, it's a difficult role to where exactly do I need to be on the pitch, because he isn't playing the same position as Cody Gakpo. Although, you know, on a team sheet, it looks like he's playing wide left, but he's not playing the same role as he. He's doing something totally different to what Cody does when he plays in that role in. But in terms of that, I don't have an issue with that, Florian Wirtz playing that, because of his ability to get around the pitch, but more importantly, his game intelligence, you know, positional intelligence. That's one of his strengths, isn't it? So he's a floater when he plays in that position, and none of the Real Madrid players had the responsibility or took the responsibility of looking after him, because 1 minute he's here, then he's there, and whose is he, and we'll let him go and we'll let him do his stuff. And so he played very well. Cody Gakpo, if he's not to play, I think he's got every right to be disappointed, because, you know, I think he's done quite well this season, and he's weighed in with his goals. And so the interesting bit, Trevor, is playing away from home in the Premier League against Manchester City is different to playing at home against Real Madrid. So I'd be interested to see what he decides to do, especially if City are going to go low block. Arsenal away, 33%, City, low block, everybody behind the ball. Would they do the same at home? I don't know. Or does he think they're better now than what they were? The problem Arne Slot's got, he's got a second guess that, hasn't he? He's got a second guess what Pep might decide to do. So against a low block, maybe not ideal. But if you can get a two-bang game, you know, and I still think that we're best at a two-bang game. You know, let's get the game going, let's get it opened up, and use our ability to get around the pitch and play at a high tempo, high intensity. Then absolutely he plays. But yeah, normally I'm not overly concerned with team news. But an hour and 15 minutes before on Sunday, I can't wait to see what we decide to do.
We'll also be watching to see if the usually fibbing Pep Guardiola's insistence that Rodri won't be involved. Would be interested to see if that's true as well, because I, for one, don't believe it. The question I asked you at the start, I want to come back to it now because it's in context. I spoke about whether or not this might be a corner turned or a false dawn. You know, two teams who tried to play football against us, and it played into our hands. But of course, it doesn't matter, Jan, if we don't have that improvement in standards across the board. Now, we saw Andy Robbo come back in, and honestly, I don't think I've seen him play that well in years. I think people find it harsh when I say this, but I think it's really been diminishing returns from him for a few seasons now. Like, I love the lad, but let's call a spade a spade. Let's not like lie to ourselves that he's putting in 8 and 9 out of 10 every week. He's not. We also saw Ibu Konate look fantastic alongside his partner. And we saw Conor Bradley pick a performance out of a bag marked world class. I mean, it's as good a right back performance as I've seen. I'll be honest with you, in seasons. All of the midfield grafted and did bits, which is what makes that unit work, because there's not 1-6 between them. McAllister, who is, I think, so important to us, has clicked back into some kind of form and popped up with his goal. And that front line we spoke about just worked because of the shape of the team behind them and because of their own ability. And because we platformed Mo Salah a bit more than we had been doing. We played him into the game over the course of the last 2. So have we now found a formula, do you think, that can work? Or do you think, just again, I know we're repeating something we said earlier on, but I think it's important in the context of this conversation with Real. Do you think that if City just decide to be a bit more practical in their play, it could unsettle us straight away and we could find ourselves back at square one? I mean, are we trusting the improvement in effort and performance and hoping that that will be enough, even if teams do go back to playing the same way that has made us look vulnerable?
So obviously there will be teams coming up that's going to play against us the way that we're perceived not to like. Our next home game being won, the Nottingham Forest game after the international break, will absolutely be a test of that. But I do think that there's a lot of things we can trust. We obviously did a talk about the focus for Liverpool has mainly been on the attacking side of the game, because that's where we spend our money. You know, when you spend that much money on bringing attackers in, that's the exciting bit, isn't it? So then people go, and you go, yeah, but it doesn't matter who the attackers are. Without a structure, you are never ever going to get that front three to work. You know, so now we seem to work a little bit harder on getting a structure. So now we've got a structure, which then will give you hope. Again, I keep coming back to whether it's enough to go to Manchester City and win. And I don't know whether we need to win or not. I mean, last year we played them twice and, you know, toyed with them twice, didn't we? You know, showed how much better we were than them, isn't it? So I don't know, but I do like the fact that we now got a structure. You got something that you can go, well, this is how we play. Florian Wirtz, I'm not overly concerned about what you do. That's what I say as a manager. Just do your bit, because you're no longer part of the structure. The structure's in behind you. Trust the structure. That'll be okay, and you do your bit, isn't it? So, yeah, I do trust that. Whether it's, and that sounds funny, isn't it, having beaten Real Madrid 1-0, whether it's all enough, you know, when, well, City are one of the better teams. I don't know. I do want to see us consistently play. You can't lose 6 out of 7 and then win 2 out of 2 and think we're back. You know, I still think there's questions that need to be, and there's only one place we can learn, Trevor. Yeah, out on the pitch. Let's show it again, boys.
I want to have a quick word about Dom Szoboszlai, because his form has been so impressive. And it did strike me watching him, particularly the last 2 games, that there's a sort of a whiff of the Stevie Gerrard off him in terms of just this ridiculous engine and ability to keep going. He pops up in every corner of the pitch. He has that ability to pass and shoot. And like, I mean, there's nobody going to be like Stevie G, but I don't know, something about the way he's been carrying himself performance-wise over the last while, and all this season when everyone else had fallen back, his form never went anywhere, regardless of where he was plugged in on the pitch. He has this sort of a bang of a captain in waiting to me. It just has that kind of presence. And I don't know, he might be a Stevie Gerrard captain where you lead by performance rather than going around in everyone's ear like shouting all the time. But he just has that ability, doesn't he, to be so consistent and solid in terms of his effort and output.
Well, the performance on Tuesday was exceptional, wasn't it? I mean, to start off with, shoot on sight, which I quite like. If you can strike a ball like he can strike a ball, let's give it a go. And then when he realised that he wasn't going to get past that goalkeeper, he then decided to produce an assist instead and let somebody else score the goal. And so, yeah, it was a really, really impressive. I don't know whether he can keep going for 55 plus games a season at the level of intensity he operates at, but he does need to go rate somewhere near maximum for him to be as effective as he is at the moment. He's not somebody he's not a Paul Scholes type that slows things down and plays at his own tempo. He needs the tempo of the game. He's a tempo setter, isn't he? And that's what I said before. And the Chuban games just suits him, doesn't it? You know, he's here, there, and everyone. He can't get enough of it. But yeah, he's been very impressive. You know, for a while we thought he might have been our best right back, but that might have changed after Tuesday night's game, innit? But him being back in there with McAllister and Gravenberch looks really good. So yeah, you know, he's had a really, really good season.
Yeah, I think we're all hoping that Connor can make the step up to being consistent now. You're not going to put in performances like that every week, but if he can just be consistent, it would be fantastic. It would solve so many issues for us. I did want to ask you, because there's been a huge amount of chatter amongst the pundit classes over the last few days. And I know, whereas you might be on social media, I'm sure you do see clips and bits and bobs sent to you. I saw today, whatever that show is that Roy Keane does with Ian Wright and Gary Neville, and is it Jill Scott? They were having a big chat about the reception that Trent was given by the Liverpool fans, and it was a huge topic of conversation. I remember being found myself in a kind of slightly heated conversations, both in real life and in the imaginary world that is online, with people, when I was saying, well, I mean, people are entitled to let themselves be heard whatever way they want. I am not a booing man. It's not a thing I would do. I can't even imagine myself doing it. But if people want to do it, I think fair fucking play to you, do it. I think people had a right to be pissed off about the way that transpired, the way that he carried himself through it. They have a right to feel betrayed and a bit let down, and the club could have been treated a lot better in all of that. So to hear the likes of Roy Keane criticising Liverpool fans, any Jamie O'Hara on TalkSport or whatever, any of these platforms where there's a talking head, they've been shaking their head and looking so sad at how poor Trent was treated. Now, the mural thing is disgusting. And it's mainly disgusting because that's somebody's work. And I'm sure you saw that and thought, fucking hell, like, I've got one of those. That means a lot to a person. It has to. And it's somebody's work as well. So you don't do shit like that. I hate that. But as for people booing a rival player who left the club in the lurch in a way, I mean, I have no issues with it, Jan. I was just really curious to get your take.
What did you expect, Trevor?
I expected that there would be tension in the ground between a group of people who wanted to clap and a group of people who likely were all wound up. And then I started listening to people whose opinions I respect and who are maybe of an age with me. And they were remarkably clear and crystal about it. I will be giving this guy down the banks because I feel betrayed by him and the way that he behaved. So then I thought, Jesus, maybe that's going to be the majority. But I did think there would be a little bit of tension in the ground. But it seems to have been pretty uniform. There was a few people clapping him, but it seems to have been pretty uniform, yeah.
Yeah. So when I did a stand-up for Danish TV before the game, I more or less said what you just said. You know, I think there's people who want to clap, but probably ain't going to clap. And there's people who want to boo, but probably ain't going to boo. And it's going to be one of those, oh, shut up, let's get on with it. He's gone now, he's history and whatever. In terms of the mural, so I was sending on the match day. So Danish TV, this is a big story. Trent coming back. So the mural's been vandalised. So when I got to Anfield, I thought, I'm going to walk past just to make sure. And I walked past, and obviously they cleaned it all up. So there was no longer, so it looked like, and well, my main concern was it's next to mine, and I thought I left on the free as well, Trevor. You know what I mean? So I thought maybe somebody's vandalised mine. So I just walked past, and there was no one there. But it was raining a little bit, but there was no one there. So you never got the feeling there that. But then, of course, he came out. He was the first Real Madrid player out before he got changed in his tracksuit. He was the first Real Madrid player out on the pitch, but there was no one in the ground. And there was a few waving to a few fans and whatever. But then he came out for the warm-up and there was quite a bit of booing. And I think then you realised, okay, in an ideal world, you'd have liked it differently. Also because of the reputation we built as a fan base. But the thing with this, Trevor, this very time, there was no layout protection for Trent, was it? Because last time he got booed, he wore our shirt. So he got booed against Arsenal. but he never really got booed again, did he? He never really got booed when we won it against Spurs. He never got booed when we lifted. He never got booed when the bus went round the city because he was protected by the shirt. Yeah, that was the outcome in the end, wasn't it? We all agreed, yeah, we don't boo one of our own. But that layer protection had gone on Tuesday. So he got it. If I was Trent, I'd be disappointed, but probably not surprised.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. And I can see it from his perspective, and it would be heartbreaking in a way. But if you will, over a period of time, engineer a move and not speak about it as vice captain, not come to a mic and talk about it, and suddenly be fluent in Spanish when you're doing your unveiling. I mean, everybody knows what went on there. That was, I think people have a right to be pissed off.